ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. tàwa yìí sẹ̀. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Gba ẹ̀kọ́ ó dáni lójú pé yóò jìyà. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
Learning starts with failure. The first failure is the beginning of education. With this quote from John Hersey, I welcome you to another edition of this wonderful program on radio, Education Today. Education Today is a program that aims to call the attention of the public to education matters as they affect the effective running of the educational system and the achievement of educational goals. This comes on air every Saturday from 3 o'clock to 4 p.m. West African time on this station, Light Radio. Our goal is to educate, inform, orientate, and entertain the society on educational matters, address issues affecting the educational system, influence public opinion, and drive effective educational policy directions to guide the formulators and implementers. For your comments, questions, and contributions, you can reach us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/lights radio, on Twitter at the Lights Radio, on Instagram lights_radio, on YouTube Lights Space Radio. You can also call or send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp on 0809 738 4000. Again, 0809 738 4000. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, the program continues. Please stay with us. If you just joined in, you are on to Education Today, and right now we'll kick off with the news. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the news on Education Today, reaching you live from Light Radio. I am Nima Ibrahim. First, the headlines. Federal Executive Council exempts varsities, polytechnics, others from IPPIs. ASUP accuses federal government of demarketing polytechnic education in Nigeria. 39 million Nigerian children can't read, right, says federal government. And on the foreign scene, University of Pennsylvania president quits after anti-Semitism uproar. Now the details. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has approved the exemption of tertiary institutions, including universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education, from the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Systems (IPPIs). Minister of Education Professor Maman Tahir, who disclosed this to correspondents after the week's FEC meeting, also said the council relieved management of tertiary institutions of the burden of obtaining approval and waiver from the Office of the Head of Service for Recruitment. According to the minister, the exemption of tertiary institutions from the IPPIS platform and from seeking Head of Civil Services Authority for Recruitment would now allow the institutions to deal with salary issues of their staff as well as recruitment internally. He said FEC took the decision to remove the institutions from the IPP system because of its concern for efficiency and the management of it institutions. Furthermore, the minister explained that as the tertiary institutions are governed by laws, they should also be allowed to exercise their autonomy as independent institutions. Recall that the IPPs was introduced by the federal government in October 2006 as part of its reform initiative to effectively store personnel records and promote transparency and accountability, and it has been a bone of contention between university lecturers under the aegis of the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) and the past administration of Muhammadu Buhari. The federal government has been accused of demarketing polytechnic education in the country with its continued refusal to allow polytechnics to award degrees to its students. The Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics ASUP said this on Tuesday in Abuja when it briefed journalists on its delegates conference, which started on Wednesday. The union also warns the further delay in ending the dichotomy between HND and degree will eventually wipe out polytechnic education in the country completely. According to ASUP National President Comrade Anderson Ezebe at the briefing, many young people are no longer interested in going to polytechnics because the government has successfully demarketed the institution by maintaining a disparity between higher national diplomas (HND) offered by polytechnics and bachelor degrees offered by universities. It therefore called for the stoppage of the appointments of unqualified persons as principal officers in polytechnics in Nigeria, the immediate release of the scheme of service for polytechnics, and the faithful implementation of the approved roadmap for the education sector, particularly as it affects the establishment of a national commission for polytechnics as well as the granting of degree awarding status for polytechnics. The Osun government has ordered a full investigation into an alleged food poisoning of 18 students at St. James Primary School B, Owokwe in Osogbo. This is contained in a statement by the State Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Mr. Kolakbo Alimi, and made available to newsmen on Tuesday in Osogbo. According to the statement, Governor Ademola Adeleke ordered the action directed the stoppage of food cooking and enforcement of food standards, as well as the auditing of all meal structure to prevent future recurrence. Also, the affected cooks in the school and their planning officer for the program had been summoned to a meeting on Tuesday. In conclusion, the state government is said to have settled the medical bills of the affected students after they were discharged from an undisclosed hospital, while a government delegation was sent to visit their families. The federal government has revealed on Thursday that about 39 million children of school-going age in Nigeria could neither read nor write. The government also said that while Nigeria is one of the countries with the highest burden of out-of-school children in the world, especially between the ages of 6 and 14 globally, only 25% of those in schools are proficient in reading and numeracy. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, gave these statistics in Lagos at the ministerial session of the ongoing 67th National Council on Education NCE meeting at the Lagos Airport Hotel Ikeja, quoting the World Bank report. NCE is said to be the highest policy-making organ for education in Nigeria, with all stakeholders in the education sector across the 35 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory in attendance. Speaking on the theme of the event, addressing the challenges of policy implementation, a panacea for the education achievement of the 2030 agenda, the minister said the disturbing statistics and narrative show that the country needs to strengthen the education system and service delivery, especially at the basic level, while acknowledging the various interventions and initiatives embarked upon, especially by the development partners, including the World Bank, UNICEF, and UNESCO, to join Nigeria's government to reduce the number of out-of-school children and improve numeracy and literacy skills through increased enrollment, infrastructure, and quality of service delivery. He stated that there is still a huge gap to fill in the system. Lastly, Maman reiterated the current administration's shared vision, which is to reduce out-of-school children to 7% by 2034 and ensure that at least 50% of children demonstrate proficiency in reading and numeracy at the basic level. And on the foreign scene, the president of a top university in the United States has resigned after a backlash over a testimony at a congressional hearing on rising anti-Semitism on campuses. University of Pennsylvania President Elizabeth Maggill stepped down on Sunday after blowback over a failure to say under repeated questioning that calling for genocide against Jews would violate the school's code of conduct. The announcement was made by Scott Buck, chair of the university's board of trustees, in a statement posted on the university's website. Meanwhile, Buck, who also announced his own resignation, said Majil would stay on until an interim president is found and remain a tenured faculty member at the university's law school. Asked whether calling for the genocide of Jews would breach university policy on bullying and harassment, the three university heads declined to give a definitive yes or no answer, saying they were committed to free expression and that it would depend on the context, such as whether the speech was targeted at individuals. Recall that Majil, Harvard University President Claudine Gay, and Massachusetts Institute of Technology President Sally Kumblot came under heavy criticism after appearing before a U.S. House of Representatives committee on Tuesday to testify about anti-Semitism on university campuses. That's all we have for you on the news, but before we go, a quick recap of the major stories. FEC exempts varsities, polytechnics, others from IPPs. ASUP accuses federal government of demarketing polytechnics education in Nigeria. 39 million Nigerians are said to be unable to read and write, according to the federal government. And on the foreign scene, University of Pennsylvania president quits after anti-Semitism uproar. That's all we have for you on the news. It was compiled by Nima Ibrahim and edited by OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Don't forget, for the coverage of your educational events, seminars, conferences, fairs, competitions, among others, you can call us on 0702-507-4268, or you can send us an email via educationmediaservices@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. The program continues. Please stay with us. That's all we can take on the news for today. Right now, we'll take the icon of the week with Aisha. Hello, Aisha.
Hello, Nima.
Yes, you have the floor.
You're welcome to the Icon of the Week segment, where we consider the life and times of individuals that lived inspiring life and contributed immensely to education development in the world. I am Aisha Hussein. Our icon of the week is Chief D.O. Fagunwa, a Nigerian author of Yoruba heritage, who pioneered the Yoruba language novel writing. Chief Daniel Olorunfemi Fagunwa, MBE, popularly known as D.O. Fagunwa, was a Nigerian author of Yoruba heritage, who pioneered the Yoruba language novel. Daniel Orowole Fagunwa was born in Okeigbo, Ondo State in 1903 to Joshua Akintunde Fagunwa and Rachel Oshunyomi Fagunwa. He had three sisters, Mary Adeyemi, Ojuolape, and Omotunde. Prior to the family conversion to Christianity, his name was Orowole Janini. The Orowole refers to the Yoruba bull deity Oro. Fagunwa's parents were originally adherents of the traditional Yoruba religion until they converted to Christianity in the late 1910s to early 1920s. Upon conversion, he changed his name to Olorunfemi, God Loves Me. He attended St. Luke's School, Okigbo, from 1916 to 1924. After completing his primary education there, he taught as a student teacher in the same school in 1925. From 1926 to 1929, he attended St. Andrew's College, Oyo, in order to train as a teacher. He met his wife in Mudakeke in 1931 while on vacation from St. Andrews. They courted for 6 years and married in 1937. From 1930 to 1939, Fagunwa served as head teacher of the nursery section at St. Andrew's Practicing School, Oyo. In 1940, he was transferred to St. Patrick's School, Owo, where he taught until 1942. In 1943, he moved to the CMS Grammar School, Lagos, and in 1944, moved again to the girls' school in Benin. Between 1945 and 1946, he taught at Igbobi College, which was temporarily located at Ibadan due to Second World War, but which relocated back to Lagos in 1946. Between 1946 and 1948, Fagunwa was based in Britain on British Council scholarship. On his return, he taught at Government Teacher Training Center in Ibadan for 2 years. In 1950, Fagunwa returned to Britain, hoping to pursue a degree, but returned to Nigeria in 1955 to make up a position of education officer with the publication branch of the Ministry of Education in Western Nigeria. He held this position until 1959. In 1938, entering a library contest of the Nigeria Education Ministry, Fagunwa wrote his Ogboju Ode Ninu Igbo Orunmole, widely considered the first novel written in Yoruba language and one of the first to be written in any African language. Fagunwa made effort to buy his imagination while working on his first novel by writing from the bush, on the other project by visiting cemetery. Wole Soyinka translated the book into English in 1968 as The Forest of 1,000 Demons, first published by Thomas Nelson, then Random House in 1982, and again by City Light in September 2013. Fagunwa's later works include Igbo Olodumare, The Forest of God in 1949, Ireke Onibudo 1949, Irinkerin-dodo Ninu Igbo Elegbeje, Expedition to the Mount of Thought 1954, and Aditu Olodumare 1961. Fagunwa did not just write novels, but he also wrote travelogues, essays, petitions, and translated other works into Yoruba. Other works include Irin-ajo, Apa Kini and Apa Keji. London Oxford University Press 1949. Fagunwa's account of his travels in Britain. Taiwo Ati Kehinde, co-authored with L.J. Lewis. London Oxford University Press 1949. Àlàyé fún olùkọ́ nípa lílo ìwé, co-authored with L.J. Lewis. London Oxford University Press 1949. Teacher's Manual. Ìtàn Olóyin. London Oxford University Press 1954. An edited collection of folk tales. Ojo Asotan, co-authored with G.L. Lasebikan, published posthumously. London Men Educational Books Limited 1964. Short story. The tradition thus initiated has shown remarkable resilience and continued to influence different categories of intellectual in diverse disciplines. At the last count, there have been 4 translations of 3 of the novels, and numerous works of scholarship continue to be published on the novels. D.O. Fagunwa was the first Nigerian writer to employ folklore philosophy in telling his stories. Fagunwa was awarded the Margaret Wong Prize in 1955 and was made a member of the Order of British Empire in 1959. On 7th December 1963, Fagunwa was in Bida on his way home to Ibadan after a business trip to northern Nigeria on behalf of Men Books, where he was employed at the time. He arrived early at the river Wuya with his driver, and they entered the queue for pontoon, which would ferry people and car across the river. While he was waiting for the pontoon service to open, he went for a walk along the riverside and slipped when a bit of earth broke under his foot. When he fell, a nearby canoe turned over onto him and pinned him under the water, drowning him. His body was recovered 2 days after the accident and was brought to Ibadan, and then onward to his hometown, Okigbo. Burial service were held for him in St. Luke's Anglican Church, and he was buried in the cemetery there, on 10th December 1963. Chief Fagunwa was created an Oloye of the Yoruba people prior to his demise in 1963. Fagunwa Memorial High School and Fagunwa Grammar School in Okeigbo, Nigeria are named for Fagunwa. His daughter, Yejide Ogundikpe, served as a council chairperson for Ile-Oluji, Okeigbo. Fagunwa Day, formerly known as Fagunwa Nights, is an annual event aimed at reading and promoting his 5 books. Fagunwa Day was initiated in his honor by the Society of Young Nigerian Writers in conjunction with Fagunwa Literary Society and Egbe Odo Nkowe Ede Yoruba. Now you know, and that's how we can take on the junior segment on Light Radio. Join us next time. The program continues.
That was the icon of the week segment. We celebrate the great author and novelist D.O. Fagunwa. Right now, we'll take the School in Focus segment with Mr. KAZEEM. Good afternoon, Mr. KAZEEM.
Good afternoon, Nima, and good afternoon, our listeners. It's a pleasure to be here. All right. So, good afternoon and welcome to the School in Focus segment, where we'll take a look at institutions of interest, provide a background to their establishment, their administration, and some notable alumni. I am OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Our School in Focus today is the Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA. The Nigerian Defense Academy was established on 5th February 1964 in response to the defense needs of independent Nigeria to train officers for the Armed Forces of Nigeria. Before then, the institution was known as the Royal Military Forces Training College, RMFTC. After independence in 1960, it became known as the Nigerian Military Training College, NMTC. The NDA, that is the Nigerian Defense Academy, is a military-based university as it is currently in Kaduna, northern Nigeria, that trains officer cadets for commissioning into one of the 3 services of the Nigerian Armed Forces, that is the Nigerian Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. The role of the academy is to provide each officer cadet with knowledge, skills, and values necessary to meet the requirements of a military officer through military, academic, and character development. In essence, the NDA is an institution where selected young able-bodied men and women are groomed into well-educated, courageous, virile, and erudite subalterns. The initial class of the NDA had only 62 cadets, and the trainers were mostly officers in the Indian Army. The Nigerian National Defense Academy follows the pattern of similar NDA in Kadashwasla, Pune, India. The first commandant of the NDA was the Nigerian Army Brigadier M.R. Verma. The NDA grew to an all-Nigerian training staff only in 1978. In 1981, the academy began bilateral training of foreign militaries. In 1985, the academy commenced offering undergraduate programs to military officers in training, and now also currently offers postgraduate studies for MSc and PhD for both military and civilian students alike. The central mission remains the training of young officer cadets in the 5-year regular combatant course, in which cadets are groomed in military, academic, and character development to instill discipline and leadership skills according to global best practices, culminating in the award of a bachelor's degree and presidential commissioning into the rank of second lieutenant for Army cadets or equivalent in the Navy and Air Force for respective cadets. Until 2011, this course used to be exclusively for males. The first set of female cadets commenced training in September 2011. As of 2019, its total cadet class is around 2,500. In terms of administrative structure, the NDA also has its academic branch, which is responsible for the academic training of cadets and administration of the civilian staff. The postgraduate school and the academy library are also under the branch. It is headed by the academic provost, who is a professor. The academic provost is assisted by the academy registrar, who is a brigadier general, the academy librarian, and deans of faculties. The branch discharges functions similar to those performed by conventional universities in terms of teaching, research, and community services. Its academic program was upgraded to a degree awarding status in 1985 with a 5-year course duration for the regular combatant course. This is made up of 4 years of academic training and 1 year of solely military training. Similarly, the cadets go through the same rigorous intellectual training as undergraduates in other conventional universities. The academic branch is responsible for running the academic degree program of the regular combatant course of the NDA. It also runs postgraduate programs and for both military and civilian candidates. On completion of the academic program, the cadets who are found worthy in character and learning are awarded bachelor's degree in the following disciplines. We have physics, chemistry, mathematics, computer science, economics, accounting, geography, history and international studies, French, Arabic, biological sciences, political science and defense studies, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, as well as electrical and electronics engineering. Now, apart from the academic branch, we also have other directorates in the NDA, including Directorate of Coordination, Directorate of Administration, Directorate of Information and Communications Technology, Directorate of Logistics, and Directorate of Finance. Each of these directorates is headed by an officer of the rank of Naval Commodore, Air Commodore, or Brigadier General. The current commandant is Major General John Ochai. He took over from Major General Ibrahim Manu Yusuf. The academic structure of the academy comprises the following units: the School of Postgraduate Studies, Undergraduate Admission, Postgraduate Admission, Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Science, Faculty of Arts and Social Science, Faculty of Military Science, and Faculty of Management Science. The Cadet Brigade is also one of the main organs of the NDA. There are a total of 2,990 regular combatant cadets in the academy and 12 allied cadets from Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Republic of Congo, Cameroon, and Liberia. The brigade is commanded by an army officer and is designated as the Cadets Brigade Commander, CBC. Notable alumni of the academy include Abdurrahman Bello Dambazai, former Chief of Army Staff and Minister of Internal Affairs; Sani Abacha, a former military ruler of Nigeria; Muhammadu Buhari, a former President of Nigeria, a former military head of state; Azubuike Hedrika, a former Chief of Army Staff; Gideon Oka, April 1990 coup leader; Tukur Yusuf Burata, a former Chief of Army Staff of the Nigerian Army. Also have Ibok Ekwe Ibas, a former Chief of Naval Staff belonging to the Nigerian Navy, as well as Kayode Are, former National Security Advisor and Director General of the State Security Services. You also have Oladipo Odia, a former Chief of Defense Staff, who was deputy to General Sani Abacha, as well as Sultan Saad Abubakar, the Sultan of Sokoto. We also have Sambu Dasuki, former National Security Advisor, and Christopher Gabwin Musa, the current Chief of Defense Staff. That's it on our School in Focus today. For those interested in additional information about the Nigerian Defense Academy, and probably you want to run 1 or 2 courses in the academy, feel free to visit the academy's website. I remain OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Education Today continues in a moment. Please stay with us.
You're still on to Education Today on Light Radio, and right now we are moving into the discourse segment, and our guest has been very much here with us. Today we are discussing the removal of tertiary institutions from IPPIS. Implications for higher education in Nigeria. The topic again is the removal of tertiary institutions from IPPs. Implications for higher education in Nigeria. Abagan through the story on Wednesday, 13th December 2023. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, announced the Federal Executive Council's decision to exempt federal universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education from the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System (IPPs), following complaints by the management and staff unions of the institutions, especially as it relates to their autonomy and challenges of staff recruitment. Following this, many of these staff unions have hailed the decision, calling it a step in the right direction. On the discuss segment today, we want to examine this decision, the background issues, and its implications for the higher education system in Nigeria generally. Joining us on the program today is our very in-house analyst and educational consultant, researcher, and lecturer at the University of Lagos, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Hello, Mr. KAZEEM. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anima again. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so do not forget you can be part of the discuss segment by sending your comments and questions to 0809 738 4000, and you can as well drop your comments via the live video feeds on our Facebook and YouTube pages. Before moving into the discuss proper, our short quiz question for the short quiz segment is what is the name of Chief Fagunwa's first and best known novel? The question again is what is the name of Chief D.O. Fagunwa's first and best known novel? You can send your answer to the WhatsApp number 0809 738 4000, or you can drop it as a comment on our Facebook or YouTube live feed. The first and the fastest answer becomes the winner. The first answer becomes the winner. So, now delving into the discourse proper, Mr. KAZEEM, when you heard about the federal government's eventual decision on this IPP saga, what was your immediate reaction to the news? You know, because I know that this is one of the main issues that ASU has been clamoring for over the years.
Well, when I got the information on Wednesday, I had mixed feelings. Mixed feelings. First is the fact that like I said, I had mixed feelings. First is more of elation that finally, at least probably federal government has allowed reason to prevail. At least for the fact that this is something that ASU has clamored for years. At least if I don't know of anything, I know that since around December 2019, that was when the enrollment of federal university staff was actually done. And throughout 2020, the period of COVID, many lecturers who were not enrolled on the platform could actually not have access to their salaries for months, all through the period of the strike in 2020. So it was that of elation that thank God, at least one way or the other, one less issue to worry about. But the second was that of more like suspicion. I'm looking at it. I hope this is not a Greek gift.
Wow.
That I hope that it's not what I'm thinking, that you guys are asking for autonomy. You don't want us to enroll you on IPPIS. Okay, no problem. Go ahead and start paying yourself salary. I'm afraid that. I hope that is not what would happen. More like a kind of trap thing. Federal government don't just do things just anyhow. Sometimes.
Wow.
Seriously, we are talking about a federal government that has a history of reneging on its agreement, a history of backtracking on its decisions, a history of betraying the commitment it's made it has made probably, with the Nigerian people. See, we are talking about politicians, for goodness sake. So I usually, hold it, whatever decision they make, with a bit of doubt and a bit of, hope that they will do the right thing.
All right, so thank you very much for providing that answer to the question. So my next question now is, to the average Nigerian or to the average students out there, what exactly is IPPs and why was it deployed? Some people get lost along the line and they feel that how am I to benefit from this whole thing?
All right, IPs is an acronym involving about 5 letters. IPPIS. So in short, you call it IPs.
Okay.
It represents Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System. It was actually developed and brought to Nigeria around 2006, to be precise, and its implementation, that is the deployment to use it to actually start as a platform for onboarding staff and paying their salaries, started around April 2007. Now the idea is we need to actually have a particular system where all employees of the federal government would be captured in a single database that is up to date, that captures everything about all the necessary information about the federal government staff, the year of birth, the year of assumption of duty, when they started working with the federal government in different capacities, or in what organizations have they worked, their payment history, and so many other things like that, such that with a single click of a button, you can have an idea of the total number of staff
that's on the platform
that are in the employment of the federal government.
Okay.
And with that single button, again, you can have an idea of how much, for instance, the federal government would pay its staff at the end of a particular, let's say this is the month of December. So if I want to know how much exactly the federal government pay all its staff, regardless of whatever level they are, regardless of whatever indebtedness or commitments they have or whatsoever, with that single click of a button, you can do that. And the idea is also that it can actually checkmate ghost workers. It can actually checkmate a situation where some people would continue to falsify their retirement age. Nigerians, we do it a lot. Someone that is actually about to retire next year will just go and meet some people before we introduce the issue of technology into this system payroll thing. What people would do is probably they go to the civil service, and where they know they have their files, they get someone, they bribe their way to get someone there. Please help me extract my file. The person will extract the file, and they will change. A lot of them will tell you they don't have birth certificates. Ordinarily. Yes. So they use that, and they will tell you that they actually come with one sworn affidavit of a declaration of age. So they do that. And at the end of the day, so when they're close to retirement, they go there, they withdraw it, and put an exchange with another affidavit, so that they can actually postpone their retirement. Someone, for instance, that is meant to retire, let's say in 2024, will now go there this year and replace that affidavit. I'll probably put there that he or she is meant to retire, let's say 2029, adding an additional 5 years. So you have people that do that a lot. You have, so many of these issues are things that the federal government was trying to,
sweep under
at
the
least
carpet.
address with the deployment of technology, so that at least you can save government from the corruption that goes on the civil service in terms of payment of salaries, in terms of, the issue of ghost workers, in terms of postponement of retirement age, and so many other, issues like that. So those are the things that the IPPIS was, meant, to address. So that was why the federal government deployed it in the first instance.
Okay, so with all of what you have stated as regards the IPPS, why have the institution been opposed to inclusion on the platform all along? Because it is the staff of the federal government. So why are they not there?
It's not saying why are they not there. Why is it that they don't want to be there?
Yes, they don't want to be there. Yes.
See, what I have stated concerning IPs is the ideal. And that's the goal, the intention.
Okay.
But one thing we must bear in mind is the fact that, see, technology cannot by itself run itself. It is designed by human beings. It is implemented by human beings.
Yes.
What if the human being wants to sabotage it? What if the human being does not want it to run the way it ought to run?
Okay.
How about some other human intervention aspect of it? Let me give you an instance. It is human beings that enroll and onboard
People, members,
staff
staff.
on the platform. Now, what if ordinarily, at the end of the day, you have people that are not staff of the institutions, and at the end of the day, are actually onboarded on that platform as staff of the institution, and they are getting paid.
Ghost workers, like they call them.
So you are trying to eradicate ghost workers, and it's also allowing you to actually have ghost workers, because at the end of the day, some names are included by the employees in the office of the IPs, which is actually domiciled in the office of the Accountant General of the Federation. You can imagine that you expect that, okay, because salary comes through the Accountant General's office. So that aspect of corruption is there. Then there are some other bureaucratic bottlenecks, which really are the major impediments which have made these institutions to say that, please, we don't want IPs. Now, what we are saying is this. Ordinarily, you can say, yes, after all, it's the federal government that pays this stuff, so why doesn't it? But the reality is, the law establishment of these institutions envisage an institution that will be self-running and self-regulating. We have a structure, a governance structure for this institution. And that's why you have what we call governing council. Under the governing council, you have the management. You have the visitor, who is really the president.
Okay.
Now, after the visitor, you have the governing council. Then you have the institution's management, be it the university management or polytechnic management or the college of education management. So at the head of that management, you have the vice chancellor for university, you have the rector for polytechnics, and you have provost for colleges of education and other allied institutions like that. Now, so what we are saying is that they have this structure. So ordinarily, with the government councils are the direct employers of staff in these institutions. So when there is need, that is a quota already approved for them. But when there is need for staff, they can recruit on their own before IPPIS. Because ordinarily there is a quota that, okay, these are the number of employees. Or if there is a need for them to actually recruit more, they just get approval directly probably from the visitor, because they present their case to the Ministry of Education and say, we need this, and because we are probably introducing new courses, we also need to get new staff, new offices and things like that. But with IPPIS, it has actually mainstreamed these institutions together with just the regular civil service, where the head is the head of service of the Federation. So now, what IPPIS has done is to put all these institutions under the control more like that of the head of service of the Federation, such that if the institutions want to recruit anybody, if they don't get approval from the head of service, they cannot recruit.
Okay.
Now, that has affected a lot of universities, so that you have many institutions that have actually, let me use the university for instance. You have professors that are retired and the institution is unable to replace them because they can't recruit new people because there is no approval from Abuja. If you employ a new person, before you can employ, apart from getting the approval of the head of service, you also have to go through the head of service to get through the Accountant General, so that you can have access to those in charge in IPPIS office to really include the name or the names of those people that you have just recruited onto that platform before they can start getting salary. So you can have people that I had colleagues, for instance, that were employed that December 2019. But because of IPPIS challenge, they could not get salary for almost a year. Imagine that you have a letter of appointment, that you're already working here, and you cannot get salary because you have not been onboarded. Another thing is now that for a lot of those people, if you have any issue now, probably with your information on the payroll, or you have any challenge or probably deductions that were probably wrongly done, you have to now travel to Abuja. Imagine that every state of the federation where you have institutions, be it a college, be it a polytechnic, be it a university, so everybody now has to go to the IPPIS office in Abuja. So that now also gave the officers in the IPPIS office unnecessary powers, such that if you go there and they feel like, oh, your situation, your issue cannot be addressed now, you have to come back at another time. So it means you go back to your state. Another time where you have to come back to Abuja again for your case. And at the end of the day, a lot of times, it has opened people to exploitation. And minus the fact that you now have a lot of corruption actually going on there. Also, have so many of these staff unions that they have their check-off dues that do not really get remitted. Ordinarily, it's supposed to be seamless with IPPIS. As they are doing deductions, she just goes straight. Many even staff that belong to different cooperative societies, they have obtained loans and they are supposed to be deducted from their salary. Some of them are being over deducted. Some
of them are overpaid,
are not even deducted. So you also have a situation where some people don't even get paid, while some even get paid twice. At the end of the day, they tell you don't spend that money.
Yes.
Because IPS will still have to withdraw it because it's a glitch. Let me just give you an instance. Something happened just this last month. Many of the federal institutions that are staff of the federal government did not get paid because there was a glitch with IPPS system that people they only got their salary December 6th or 7th.
Wow.
Of how many
for the month of November. So you are talking about some of these glitches and you are looking at it that. And unfortunately, based on what I also said, although IPPIS office has not come out to either confirm or refute the allegation that for every staff that is onboarded on that platform, the federal government pays about $40 on each of them because the software is actually foreign owned. Wow. So what they only gave you is they only gave you access to operate it, but they did not actually release everything. So you also have the issue of data safety. How about the security of the data of all these employees? Because it is not government that owns this platform. You're only probably using, just like you saying that I want to use a particular software by some of these computer manufacturers, and you actually don't have access to everything.
That's bad.
So it means that if there is any problem with that, you have to probably go back to the original manufacturer before you can do it. And they are saying that we have homegrown solution that is even better than IPPIs that can be used by this.
So how have the unions reacted to this IPPS exemption?
Well, a lot of them have hailed it. At least we have one less thing to worry about. If you look at it, ASU has actually been at the forefront. So ASU was one of the first people that said, well, this is a welcome development. At least the government has addressed one of the many issues that they have raised. And for some people, they feel like, at least the excuse that it is IPPIS as one of the demands of ASU, which probably necessitated some of the previous strikes, is now out of it. So now ASU cannot say we want to go on strike now because of IPPIS. So to a lot of them, and for these decisions, at least these are deductions or overpay because the IPPIS does not understand allowances. Okay. It only have what we call consolidated pay. So people also feel that they are overtaxed. Because unlike before, there is a differentiation of what you talk about basic pay and you talk about allowances. You tax the basic pay, you don't tax allowances. But for IPPIS, it combines everything together, and you have consolidated pay, and you also have consolidated tax deductions. So it tax everything, including allowances. And at the end of the day, so probably a person like me that's supposed to probably pay a tax of, let's say, 5,000, I end up probably paying as much as 10,000 or 12,000. Yeah, because it's all about a consolidated pay, not whether it is the basic pay and allowances. IPPIS does not know anything called allowance.
All right. Wow. It's been a tough one on this particular topic this afternoon. And do not forget, you're still listening to Education Today on Light Radio. And we have been discussing the removal of tertiary institutions from IPPs, the implications for higher education in Nigeria. And our guest has been Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM, a lecturer from the Department of Educational Management, University of Lagos. Don't forget you can be part of this discussion by sending your comments, contributions, and questions via Facebook, Light Radio, on Twitter at The Light Radio, on Instagram, Light_Radio, and on YouTube, Light Radio. You can also send all call 0809-7384-4000. And now we have a reminder of our short quiz, which is, what is the name of Chief D.O. Fagunwa's first and best known novel? May the best correct answer win. So now, moving on quickly, Mr. KAZEEM. ASU and many other institutions that have the same intention on this IPPs, they finally got what they wanted. So the question now is, where do we go from here? Where do we go? What is the next line of action for those unions?
What is it, for the unions or for the government or for the institutions?
For the unions, for the government, all parties involved.
Now, for all parties involved, and I would say that for the federal government, for the fact that the decision to onboard the institutions and their staff on IPS was a federal government decision, and now it has also taken the federal government to also exempt them or remove them from that platform. I would say that it's for them to now look at, are we adopting the alternative that ASU preferred in the first instance, or we are going back to the platform that was used before IPS? Because that was a platform that was being used before. It's called GIFMIS. So, and that was the one, it recognized all, the allowances thing and every other thing like that. Based on the collective bargaining government has had with some of these institutions. Let me even tell you, do you know that before IPS, at least even for colleges of education, their pay, based on the, the negotiation they had federal government, they have better pay structure than even the universities. Yeah, you can go ahead and you can. Let me use using Peter Obi's thing. Now go and verify seriously. That's one. Then number two is also the fact that there were some critical issues that were raised concerning IPS. The fact that the federal government continues to pay probably a rental fee for the use of that platform on an annual basis, I think that is corruption. Federal government really needs to investigate that, if it is true or not, and needs to come out transparently to tell us that, see, this is it. And are you saying that there is no software engineer or in this country that can develop that a homegrown solution better than IPS? Is that what you're saying?
Talk about promote Nigeria.
Yes, now, seriously. And that's what ASU. ASU did not even say, government, give us money. We did this and say, go and test it. But then, they are saying, well, this is not about testing this and that. IPS is, you see, federal government will always defend it. But it feels like federal government also has a hand in the corruption that has been leveled against IPS. So, in that case, I think we should not just sweep it under the carpet. Then beyond that is the fact that now that you are taking them off to where? Because I know the idea of taking them off is actually majorly because of this recruitment challenge and the fact that people have to be running down to Abuja for any other thing, and some of these recurring glitches that IPS has always suffered from. But then, so where are we going? At least there should be clarity regarding the payment system or platform that the institutions will now go to. Then beyond that is also the fact that I hope, like I said, it's not a great gift. I hope it's not a case of unions, institutions management, you guys go and resolve on how you guys want to probably generate the money to pay your staff, or how many staff that you want to have, or how you want to pay them. I hope it is not like that. Because there is no clarity. Just say, yes, they've been exempted from there. So where are they going? That is a need for that clarity. Then for the unions, they really need to challenge the government beyond just the fact that yes, you have removed us. There's some other pending issues. Beyond that is also a case of they should also demand transparency or what exactly is happening, for instance, to UTAS, because that captured the peculiarity of the university system or even the tertiary institution system in terms of allowances, in terms of the ranks, in terms of the retirement age, because IPS does not recognize 70 years retirement age for university staff. So so some of the issues that made ASU tackle IPS then. So what are we saying now? So that clarity needs to come, and the institutions themselves really need to look at it. The system that we're operating now, because in the past, let me give you an instance. There are institutions that before the federal government eventually sends that salary, if there is a delay, they go ahead from their own IGR, they can go ahead and actually pay their staff. But because everything that has also been met beyond IPs, you also have the TSA matter, which the institutions are still facing because all the money is generated, everything is going first to central bank before they now say, okay, we need our money, now give them a particular percentage of it, because you also have this issue of deductions from their IGR. So the payment of fees by these students now, a lot of them can have, the students don't even have access to the money to utilize them. So these are issues. You have to wait for this approval, that approval, before you can even have access to your money. So the delays and all these bureaucratic bottlenecks are things that we really need to look at. So I believe that's where we're going from here. And for some other issues beyond which, beyond the issue of IPs, which also has raised, how about the issue of the withheld salaries of staff?
Health salaries.
Withheld salaries.
Withheld salaries.
7.5 months or 8 months salary that was withheld by the federal government since last year, and which the president said I have approved 4 months on the condition that you sign a particular contractual agreement that you never go on strike again. That is slavery. So invariably, so and ASU has not, ASU did not subscribe to it, and you have not even paid it. So ASU is saying we cannot sign such a slave contract with the government. So at the end of the day, so what is happening to that? How about the issue of higher institution funding? Because look at the budget now. We're talking about the current budget that is also less than 8% of the national budget for 2024. And you want our education to actually perform well.
How?
All right, thank you very much. I guess that's all we can take on the discuss segment for today. We would like to appreciate our in-house analyst, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Thank you very much for always heeding our call, and for the beautiful insights you have provided on the discuss today.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll go on another quick break now, and we'll be back for the words on the marble. Please stay with us.
Ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́, ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
You're welcome back to the Words on the Marble segment of Education Today, where we take a look at memorable quotes that are educational as well as inspirational to everyone. And today we have a quote from Marianne Wright Edelman. According to Marianne, education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. That's our words on the marble for today. Education, no matter the form, location, level, or sophistication, must result in producing a better person and a better society at large. The moment it deviates from that goal, then it no longer qualifies to be termed education. So we have some people that we want to give shout out to on our Facebook page. We have Shukra, Zainab, Afulain Damlola, thank you all for joining. We have Promise Godwin, we have Mai Alo, Salu, Emmanuel, Oroluwa, Monsurat, Kausara, Alele Unique, Successful Coco, Feishayo, Fola Shade, Hassan Kadri. Thank you all for joining. And we also have a comment from Ablakim Adioye, who says, IP's officers are mini gods. Over 17,000 civil servants were not paid in the month of September as a result of IP's verification glitches. In fact, 2 civil servants, according to Ablakim, died on their way down to Abuja in order to partake in the verification exercise. That's so pathetic, and we may their souls rest in peace, and may God give their families the fortitude to bear their loss. IPS, he continues by saying, IPS is good, but it has to be upgraded and decentralized. Thank you very much, Ablakim, for providing that insight on today's discuss. We also have a winner on the quiz on our YouTube page. Taiwo Malik answered the question, and again the question to the quiz was the first and the best known novel of Dr. Chief D.O. Fagunwa, and the novel is Ogboju Ode Ninu Igbo Irumole. That's the answer to the quiz question for today. Ogboju Ode Ninu Igbo Irumole is the first and best known novel of Chief D.O. Fagunwa, and it was published in 1938. Thank you very much, Taiwo Malik. You'll be contacted to redeem your prize. Now, this is to inform you, our esteemed listeners, that you can advertise your products and services as well as showcase your events on our program. This you can do by calling the number 0703 953 8998 or 0702 507 4268. Thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate you sticking with us from the beginning of the program up till this point. Let us know how you feel about today's program. And if you also have, suggestions and questions on our various segments, please feel free to reach us via our social media platforms. On Facebook via Education Today, on Twitter on X, as it's now called, at Education Today, on Instagram, education_2 DAY, and on YouTube, Education Space Today. Don't forget, you can also send an email to educationmediaservices@gmail.com. Many thanks to the entire crew of the Light Radio and the management of the Light Radio as well, especially T-Wise and Faye, who have been on the socials for us. Thank you. We also wish our director of programs a happy married life in advance as he gets wedded next week. And for that and other logistic reasons, we are sorry to announce to you that Education Today would not hold next week. But please keep us in mind as we plan to resume after the Xmas. In a fortnight, after the celebrations. So do join us same time in a fortnight on this station, Light Radio. I remain Nima Ibrahim,
OLUBUNMI KAZEEM,
Aisha Hussein,
and we are saying
see you next week and goodbye.